Well, guys, what is up? This show is called The Confessions of a Narcissistic Marketer. And I guess, the confessions part makes a lot of sense. Michelle just made a confession that sometimes she doesn't exactly know what she's doing in life. And I think I can definitely confess and attest to that. And I'm sure all of us can confess and attest to that. Now, as far as the narcissism part, I think narcissism gets a bad rap, to be honest, Michelle. I mean, there's the far end of it. I know like the clinical definition, but I'm kind of a self-absorbed, but self-loving and self kind of caring and self kind of individualistic kind of person. So that's kind of where that thing came, and it's like a catchy kind of name. So confession, maybe that's not exactly what I mean. I guess, Michelle, first of all, how are you?
I'm doing great, Ryan, or as Ansel Lee calls you, RC.
Yeah, RC. Yeah. Well, that's great. That's great to hear. We've already been doing a bunch of talking, so we're kind of warmed up here. So, Michelle, what I want to do, I want to share just this video. I'm going to put it up on the screen, and this is a video. It's an Instagram reel. I guess you could say friend, my cousin's partner sent to me, and I just want to get like your honest take, reaction. We'll just watch it and just tell me like what you think about it. Agree, disagree, whatever. And for me, either way, I don't care. I just want to hear what you think about it, and then we can talk about it a little bit.
So it's like this present package that you're going to give me. Okay.
Yes, but we can call it that. Okay. Let's see.
America came home with her report card today, and it's not looking very good. As you can see, America's economy is doing great, but doing absolutely terribly on everything else. Honestly, I might as well just say old happy on it. The conditions in this country where economic growth is the highest good are fundamentally unsuitable to well-being. When profits are what matter most, everything is privatized and public goods are stripped away. Companies raise prices while keeping wages stagnant, making basic needs unaffordable. Billionaires and companies are glorified as heroes even though they behave in morally reprehensible ways like destroying the planet for more profit and avoiding their taxes, which would fund public goods. Because people's needs aren't met, they're forced to work for longer and in unsafe conditions just to be able to make enough money to survive. And participating in the system brainwashes you to believe that personal success and achievement are the pathway to happiness, just to exploit you even more and get you working harder. That creates a profound sense of hollowness within us, which we try to fill up through buying more and more stuff to keep this engine going, or scrolling on social media to be distracted and numbed out. So yeah, of course people are unhappy. We need to entirely rethink our world and choose a new highest goal to put at the heart of it: happiness for everyone. And if we did that, America would come home with an entirely different report card.
I have a lot of thoughts in my brain. I have two different paths that I go down, okay? And one of them is that there's this victim mode tone in this thing, right? That we are basically pawns of whatever government decides or other people decide. And I struggle with absolute statements. Like that this is it, this is what everybody's trying to do. Do I agree that there's people in the world that are corrupt and not doing? Yes, because it's a world. Do I think it's a statement that holds true for everyone? No. Do I believe that we're at the mercy of all this stuff and there's nothing that we can do? No, absolutely not. I wouldn't be who I am if I believe that the victim of circumstance. Do I believe things can get better and there's more responsibility needed? And yes, but it's not 100% like this pendulum swing, right? Because I have a stake in that. I have a responsibility in that. And I go back to Sean Akers' work, of happiness advantage, that if I know everything about your external environment, everything, I can only predict 10% of your future happiness because it's an inside job. So it's like, I'm not dependent on all these external things for my happiness. Do they impact me at some level? Yeah, but I have 100% control how I respond to it. So that's some of the stuff that comes to my little brain when I see that.
I felt that too. The undertone of victimhoodness. It's like, and just everything she said was very broad, like these kind of broad, sweeping
Mhm.
economic terms, that just, yeah, like, even like when people start when she starts saying things like, when the billionaires are taking
Mhm.
all of the money and not like distributing it to people, and then it's like forcing us to want to buy more, the like this profit first idea, and that takes away money and that makes people unhappy. Like, so I think the one thing that kind of bugged me the most is and I've watched this video, like a few times, and I took notes because my
Yeah.
friend sent this to me, and normally I don't respond to stuff. Normally somebody will send me a video, and if I don't agree, especially like friend, family, like, okay, I just whatever, like, thanks for it. But I felt like
Yeah.
I kind of want to say something, and then I had to formulate my thoughts and like figure out like why this was wrong and what I wanted to say about it. But so there's one part at the end where she said that, basically saying that ambition and like ambition is not a good goal. Let's see, I wrote this
Oh,
down.
it was the profits.
Ambition and success. Yeah, like, so the idea that, yeah, that when profits are the focus, that's what causes all of these bad things talked about, like unhappiness and people not having money. But then I thought, well, kind of profit focus, I get where she's coming from, that if you only think about money, that's it. But she's making it seem like focusing on profit is a bad thing, when every country in the world is focused on profit, is focused on making more than we're losing so that people can have stuff to like be
Yeah.
happy and successful. And then the other part, this idea of ambition and success, like, instead of chasing ambition and success, we should focus on happiness, which that doesn't even make any sense. Like, happiness, what do you mean? That's not a goal. And then I'm thinking, the only reason why I'm happy is because of my ambition and success. Like, I love doing work and I love having success and going after
Mhm.
what I want. The only time I'm not happy is when I feel like my mission is gone, like my ambition
Mhm.
isn't there. So I think if we want more people to be happy, let's give more people a reason to have work that feels satisfying and that they love, and have that
Mhm.
ambition in a healthy way. Oh,
Well, it's interesting. It's like I do so much with leadership development, and part of it is you should never, not that you can't, you should never assume that your goals and your aspirations are someone else's goals and aspirations. There are plenty of people in corporate America or in industries or whatever you want to talk about that have no desire to move up in the organization. They want to go to work, do their work, leave all that stuff at work, take their paycheck, go home and live their lives with their family and everything else. There are other people that the part of their goal is to move up in the organization, so they've got bigger impact across the organization. There are other people like you and me, I'm self-employed, Ansel, that you want to go and make your own mark, right?
mm.
Which is not an easy path, by the way, right? Because
Right.
all the infrastructure that exists in larger corporations doesn't exist in your own business unless you build it.
Mm.
So it's a more challenging pathway. And so when you have this dialogue and videos like that by the way, when you have people who are sitting on the fence or that are sitting in that, they hear these narratives and they don't stand out to them the way they stand out to you and I as being false. They stand out to them as being true, because what they're hearing is reinforcing what they believe to be true or what they've created in their experience, which is unfortunate, because then you don't give people the pathway to something better. You hold them, pigeonhole them in where they're at, to where they're going to be continue to be dependent on other people for their happiness, which is the wrong way. People don't live fulfilling lives like that. So even if you can step in and own your own happiness, you make decisions. I'm doing a janitor job because I love the people, I love what I do, and I get 2 months out of the year off. I'm just making stuff up.
Mhm.
But whatever you want, live the life that you want. But
Yeah.
but don't sit there and say,
Mm.
well, if they didn't do XYZ, or if they did XYZ, I would be happy. That's BS, because you can't buy happiness.
Mhm. I think that's a great distinction of that. Yeah, it's not the money, it's not the the profit. It's doing stuff, like doing something that you love and that you enjoy. Like that is what happiness is, like spending, because I think that's the only way you can be unhappy, right? Is if you're doing something you don't want to do, you're in a
Mm-hmm.
position you don't want to be in, you're afraid, you're unsure. So yeah. Hold on.
You're
Yeah.
good.
So it's like, why?
What was your
Yes.
response to the video? What did you send a response back to them? Because you told me normally I just blow it off or I don't send a response, but this one I watched a few times for this. Have you crafted that response to them?
Yeah, and that was, part of it was this idea of this ambition and success. Ambition and
Yeah.
success, to me, those are really important things. Yeah, so that was kind of what, thanks. That's where I was going
You're
into a way.
welcome.
I've had places in my life where I had a video production company with my best friends, and then we had a falling out, and I had, nothing, living back with my parents, went to work at a grocery store for 2 years. But I didn't really just like that time in my life, but I loved that time in my life. One, because I had ambition, like I had
Mm-hmm.
hope. It was hope. It was the goal. It was that I'm working towards something in my
Mm-hmm.
life. So that way,
Yeah.
no matter where I am, if I'm in this store, if I'm somewhere else, I can be happy here. And you know what? I might as well make the most of this. So like
Mm-hmm.
having that future helps me to be happy in the present too. Now, some people get too stuck, perhaps, of course, me too. We get too stuck in the future and we don't appreciate the present. But what I think having a goal does, like having a mission does for you, is it makes everything tolerable, makes everything in life okay. Like you could be in a jail cell. There's people that have been in jail cells for years and years, but they have that
Mm-hmm.
sliver of hope that one day they'll be free and they'll be out, and that's what gets them through. So that's what I want to give more people, or my message. Like, how can we do that for people? Because you're right, not everyone should and can and is able to be an
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneur, because it's so hard. You have to have the right mindset that you were just
Mm-hmm.
for some reason. And it's totally great and amazing that people just go to work. But yeah, how do we make work more fulfilling? How do we make people so that they can do things they love every day? One thing, and tell me if you think anything about this
I'm
after,
listening.
what if things were smaller? What if just everything was smaller, companies smaller?
I
That's
don't
kind of,
think that's not it. No, I don't think that's it. I think it's the development of leadership, right? Where leaders create the space. And this is part of the the visual I tell people all the time. When you're a leader, if you're this way, right? So you're at the top and then you've got all your people, right? That's top-down leadership. Your people don't feel part of the solution, they don't feel anything because you're literally cascading stuff down. So this is leadership. Okay. So you're on the team with them. You're all on the same team. You have different roles. But what happens is when you step in with that model, and size doesn't matter then, right? Because when you step in with that model, you're stepping in to engage the other humans that have intellect, perspective, thoughts, all the stuff on coming together to figure out goals, to figure out the approach, to all that stuff. So in organizations, they'll cascade down the what. Like, this is our strategy in the next 3 to 5 years. Here are the goals that we're shooting, which we need goals, by the way, to your point. You knew you were at a grocery store working for a couple of years, but you knew this wasn't your retirement place, right? Mm-hmm. So we all need goals so we can understand the gap between where we are today and where we want to be. And the same thing happens in organizations. Organizations are smart if they cascade down the goal, but they don't cascade down the how. They cascade down the what, but they don't cascade down the how. The how is you pull your team together. So now all of a sudden I'm going to work for so-and-so. I'm an analyst, or I'm a programmer, or I'm, a executive assistant, whatever it may be. And now my voice is going to get checked in on how our part of the organization is going to contribute to what the goal is of the overall organization. So now I can see what I do, and the leader will help me connect it to the mission and the vision of the organization and how they're measuring success. That's how I feel good about stuff. I go to work, I'm valued, I'm respected, I put my time in, someone's not burning me out with the challenge I have with Musk right now is like 80-hour weeks, that kind of narrative that I'm hearing. And I'm like, that's just stupid. So we need people to be able to live the life they want. If you want to work 80 hours a week, seriously want it, go for it. But if that's not your choice and that's not really what fills your cup up, figure out what does. And let's get somebody the time that they can have something else beyond what they do. Because not everyone's got a fun family that they want to hang out with or fun friends. Maybe they're introverts and they're just happy doing the work thing, right? But I think it's understanding what people want and then allowing people to step into that and have a say in what that is. But it's not large or small orgs. It's leadership creating the space for people to come together that way. That's my 2 cents anyway.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah, I said the small thing, the small organization thing. Why is that something I've been thinking about? But yeah, it's not about size. It's just about feeling like belonging, because we have entire nations we have a collective spirit, we have a collective belonging and a collective purpose. And that strengthens and weakens with whatever the times and government and all these things. And yeah, the size that's not really a factor. It's just more of how do we have a uniting, kind of combining idea. And it doesn't matter. You could have 10 people in a room and it could be, half and half, and they're fighting just as much as an entire nation who's half and half.
Yes.
Now it's, I actually did
have a quote. Can I have a quote and take you back to something that you said? Because it was around this whole idea of happiness and everything. I'll stop and ask and not just blast through, because I asked a question. I want to hear, are you okay if okay.
Yeah.
So my daughter sent me a podcast, and Dr. Ellen Langer was the guest on this podcast. And she's done a lot of stuff around just the brain and the heart and mind unity and all that stuff. I mean, the head and heart unity. But this thing that she said that I'm quoting that just stood out for me is around the whole idea of mindfulness. And she describes mindfulness as paying attention. And so, which I think contributes to happiness, because otherwise you're going to miss some of this stuff that's happening in life. It says, when you don't know, then you pay attention. And when you pay attention, you have choices that otherwise you are blind to. There's choices out there, Ryan, that we're missing because we're paying attention to the narrative that someone else is feeding us. So I think it's important to get attuned to those things and attune your body too when you're paying attention. It's like, how do I feel about that? Do I agree with it? Do I disagree with it? Does it feel heavy? Does it feel light? Whatever that paying attention is, I encourage people to do it.
Yeah, I really like that. And I just came up with my formula for happiness, or a formula. It's called a mechanism. It's called a mechanism for happiness. Because of course, it can be so broad and stuff. And it has to do with this mindfulness idea you just brought up. So I think there's 2 parts. There's the mindfulness and there's the choice. So we go through life and we have snap judgments that come up. You see somebody, you see something, and a judgment comes up. It's just purely conditional, based on our life, based on what we're told, based on what we think again and again and again. And we need to pay attention to that. Mindfulness is paying attention, but then also paying attention to what is that thought that initially pops up. And it happens with people a lot. A lot of times we see people and we're like, stupid, loser, or beautiful, or really cool. A lot of times it's just negative. I think
judgment. There's judgment. Yeah.
But, just like that, a lot of times that comes up. So I think the first thing we got to do is we see something, or have that, remember to be mindful, recognize what that first judgment comes up is, and then choose to either think the opposite or think something that's positive. Because I think that's a very important part, is that you have to choose positivity, and that's how you be happy. It's like happiness is conditioned. Like feeling good is a conditional thing that you have to practice. And I think that must be a big reason why a lot of people aren't happy, because they're not used to being happy and they don't realize that external things aren't really going to give you happiness. You have to attribute positivity, positive feelings towards everything. And when something comes up that feels negative, like I was running on the beach today, and I saw a lot of trash. You know, it's one of the sad things about Rio is there's a lot of trash around on the beach. I saw it, and now I didn't look at the trash and be like, oh, that's kind of beautiful. You know, I didn't read that.
No.
I was like, you know, yes, there is trash here, and it made me feel bad, but like, look at everything else, you know, look at all of this other stuff.
Yeah.
I do that. And so, yeah, I think those two parts is
I'll go back. Are you familiar with Sean Akers' work, Happiness Advantage? And I mentioned earlier with this, I know everything about your external environment. I can only predict 10% of your future happiness. Well, what he talks about is this, is that it's the lens with which we're filtering the events or the things that happen. Okay. For instance, if you're someone who watches the news all the time, what you're actually doing is programming your subconscious that what you see on the news, that ratio of good to bad is how it is in the world. So then you go out and you're looking, and then you've got confirmation bias going on. The world sucks. The majority of the people are doing terrible things and everything. Whoops, see, that just confirms it. It's kind of like this little video that you had, right? It just confirms that all these bad things are happening. I knew it. So what we have to do, and you're absolutely right, is we have to reprogram ourselves. And we do it through practices of gratitude, right? When you're truly, truly grateful. And I don't mean some hokey thing of, what are you grateful for? Oh my God, my team. Okay, what about your team? Because what you want to do is step back into that moment that you're specifically grateful for, right? Then when you feel all those feelings, you're literally raising your vibration, okay? And then it's not possible to be these other negative emotions while you're in gratitude. It's not possible. So you literally just start creating a different environment. It's like for me, when I wake up in the morning, I don't go, oh God, I'm like, oh my God, it's going to be a great day. Mm-hmm. But that took practice before hitting snooze, however many times and it's like, I'm looking forward to the day. I'm looking forward to the humans I'm going to be in the room with. It takes practice. And then after a while, it's like driving a stick shift car. You're like, I'm not really thinking about it. It just happens. Mm-hmm. But it takes practice. Yeah, that's it. This is something my dad taught me with anything. I don't know. He just always says, just takes practice. Yeah. Oh, like humor, like being funny, like, oh, you'll get funny or something. Just takes practice. With sports, it just takes practice. You'll get good. And that's it too with feeling good, with being positive, with creating success in your life. It takes practice. And even when you don't feel like it's true, you have to practice feeling like it's true. You have to. It's not really a fake it till you make it. I discourage people from that, because we do want to acknowledge it's not like I wake up every day and feel amazing. But there's language that I use too. So for instance, when I feel sucky, I don't get sick that often. I've got a really great immune system. But if there are times that I do, so I did this. It was my daughter's friend that was going to do it. And then I'm like, oh, I'll do it too. 72-hour fast. I've never done that. 72 hours. Yeah. And it was okay during it, sort of, but like halfway through, I got sick. So I don't know if my body was just detoxing crap that it had, to where I was like achy and nauseous, no fever, nothing like that, but just no energy. So, which is great to finish out a fast because you got no appetite, right? So, but by the time the fast got over with, by the way, there is something to be said about just having bone broth or something like that when you're breaking a fast, because my throat just constricted. When I first started to eat something, I'm like, well, this is an interesting feeling. But I say that whole thing because when I do feel less than ideal, I don't go, I feel like crap. I'm still going to take a shower. I'm still going to get ready. I'm still going to get ready for the day, mentally ready for the day, and then decide how I feel. And then if I'm not 100%, I literally use that language. I'm not 100%. And
Yeah.
For me, it's this place of not owning. I feel like crap because when you go there, you just dig this hole. That's my personal experience.
Mm, yeah. No. Yeah. Definitely like that. There's the idea too. Yeah. There. I've a few things. There's like I think sometimes I think accept all. This idea of I need to accept everything. So whenever it's happening, if it's bad or good, you just accept it. It's here. I accept it. A
Mhm.
lot of times, fight something that's bad. You can't fight it. You just accept that it's here and it's okay. There's
Mhm.
the idea of embracing the suck. When things
Yeah.
suck. Like I love. I haven't really read his books. I just hear him talk. Like guys like David Goggins, where he's just when he talks about loving the pain and pushing through the pain. Sometimes, he has this story like his knees are so messed up because there's like no cartilage and he just runs and he doesn't care and he goes through the pain, he pushes through the pain. He does these like 100-mile runs and it's like, I'm not going to do that.
No.
But knowing that he does that and he's like, stop being such a pussy. Just go do it. Get up and go do it. And I'm like, that's like so intense. But thinking about him, I'm like, yeah, this isn't that hard too. Like I can do this. I can deal with a bit of pain. That's okay. I watched this video the other day. There's this guy. He's just some kid. Maybe he's probably younger than me, skinny guy, and he sings this song. And it's really catchy. He made his own song. He's doing this ridiculous dance, and it goes, I do it anyway. I do it sad. I do it mad. I do it anyway. And it's just like, yeah, I do it anyway. And it's been stuck in my head. And like, even if stuff sucks, if it feels bad, do it anyway.
Yeah.
And yeah, you don't have to fake it. I do think you got to fake it till you make it a bit. At least maybe if you're in the beginning of stages of this or something. I definitely do that. So I'm like, no, it's okay. It's going to be okay. Something. But there's lots of ways to think about it. But totally,
Self-talk matters.
One more thing I'll put in here. Just some guy. I think he was like a motivational guy from. He was really famous in the 80s or 90s. I don't even know.
Jim
but he's
Rohn?
like, wake up. No, I don't think it was him.
Zig Ziglar?
It's
We'll
like, but
find
he's
out.
like one of those guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
The quote, what he said, what got to me, and I wrote it down on the card and put it on my computer. All he said was,
Wasn't Jack LaLanne?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't
He was
remember
the
his name.
exercise guy. You're not going to remember that because you're too young. But when I was a kid.
He was a suit guy. He's one of those guys that's like motivational.
Okay.
And he was like wearing nice clothes.
So what is the thing?
It's just do it. When you wake up in the morning.
Oh, the Nike.
Just do it. Yeah,
Okay.
it's the Nike words, but it wasn't Nike, but he's like, just do it. The productive people, like just do it now. That was it. Just do it now.
Okay.
The people that are productive, the people that get the most things done. Like procrastination is the killer of everyone who wants to do things. Just do it now. And I've had that there. And I'm thinking about it when I'm like doing something. Oh, I'm thinking about getting distracted. I'm like, just do it now. No, just do it now. Just don't, you don't need that extra cup of coffee. You don't need to look on the, do it now. And that has helped. It's really.
I'm going to write that down. I like it. It's so funny because I can hear your voice in it because at the now just kind of raises up. Just do it now. Just do it now. And so I'm like, yeah, let's go.
Let's go. I'll give you one more story on this. So I, talking to my business partner ch mentor, one thing he told me last week, he's like, Ryan, one of the biggest, I think, one of the biggest, it's not
Downfall?
a problem. What do you call it? Downfall, like
Downfall?
the problems with you. It's not like a problem with you. Setbacks, the biggest
opportunity,
roadblock that you have,
barrier?
the biggest impediment of your success, biggest
Oh,
barrier.
wow. Biggest thing getting in the way. What is this thing?
Biggest thing
What
that
is
gets
this
in your
thing?
way. That's it. Is your like speed. Is your doing things quickly, like doing things fast enough. Like you kind of take a long time to do stuff. And I thought about that and I was like, yeah, he's definitely right. I wish I could do things faster and I want to. And then having that in mind, so I do, I have a program, an intensive. I call it my Market Messiah Messaging Intensive.
Yeah.
And typically the sales cycle for this is I have a coffee chat And then a week later, we do a follow-up call after I send them something. And then, that week later, that's typically when the sale happens. So typically
Right.
it takes at least, at
2
least a
weeks.
week or a week and a
Yeah.
half. Yeah, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But what I did in thinking about that, I had the first call, the first 30-minute coffee chat, and then I went through everything I normally do. But at the end, instead of saying, let's like book a call for next week and we'll
Yeah,
send
let
you
me let you think about it and yeah.
Yeah. Instead, I just an hour later, I sent a Loom video explaining the whole program, how it works,
Yeah.
what the outcomes are, sent him the video. And he's like, oh, this looks really good. And then he asked me a question. I said, yeah, well, so, hey, man, I've got time next week. We can do this or whatever. Just let me know. And then he's like, yeah, let's do it. And he paid that day. So I went from a 2-week sales cycle to less than 24 hours making a sale.
Yes.
Just because there was that, push from my mentor and this recognition that, yeah, I can do it. Why haven't I been? It was just fear and kind of just not being mindful, maybe just not really realizing I could do it faster.
Well, I was going to say, I think you were following the rule. You had created this constraint. You had created this process. So here's the process. So then, and it can be in your head, well, this is just how we do it. We do this and then we do, but do we have to do it that way? How else could it be done? Yeah.
Totally.
Because some people are ready to sign, and they don't need long processing time. They're processors, right? To where, they're going to get information and then they got to go away and think about it and come back. You may be one of those people, right? A processor. And you may have catered how you do stuff to people like you. And then you've got other people that literally, I'm one of the people that in the room, like when I watch the video, what's on your mind about the video? I got stuff on my mind about the video. I don't have to think about it. I mean, I'm so real time. So I'm not the person in the room that, when a question is asked, I got nothing. I got lots of somethings. So my thing is I have to sit back and shut up for a minute so that other people can step in. But you may have built it to cater to people who need time to process, which might not be the majority of the people that you work with. You never know.
Yeah, it's not everyone. And some people do need more time, but I never even had the thought or the possibility that I could make it that short. And now I do. Now I have that option that, hey, if this person's really ready to go, I don't have to wait. I should send them a Loom instead.
Yeah.
And it's just, that's what I've learned so much about sales and marketing. It's better to have a lot of different options. It's better to have a lot of different products, a lot of different offers, and have custom offers when you're selling to people rather than just have one thing. You should be able to be flexible, ask, listen, create custom packages and offers. And that's how you maximize not only helping your client, but just maximizing like revenue for yourself, maximizing the results that you get clients, have continuing relationships when you have those options. It's one of the biggest things I see that people don't have, especially coaches and consultants that sell the way that I do. I did want to ask you a thing.
I love to be asked a thing. What's the thing?
Well,
right?
I kind of wanted to go back to the whole Elon Musk idea and management style.
Okay.
What'd you think of the Twitter, the thing where he comes in and fires a bunch of people in the name of efficiency and like I don't know.
It feels like a pendulum swing. It's like a pendulum swing. I think there is an ability to come in and right the ship, if you will. It's the same thing that's happening in the U.S. government right now. I mean, we're bleeding profusely, right? Financially, it's so bad. And so the thing is, I don't know what Twitter was like or X was like. I don't know. I think there's a way to do what you have to do, right? To be able to right the ship, stop the bleed. It's not just sticking your finger in the dike. There's a way to do that respectfully. So if we have to go in and eliminate positions, do we have to broadcast it the world like, boom, look what I did? No, you don't have to do that way. So I think there is yes, we need to be able to manage business. I'm not on the inside. I don't know what their financials look like. I didn't know how bad I mean, you never know. And we can do it without broadcasting it across the front page in a way that feels like, it's a personal attack on the individuals that got let go, because that's what it feels like. There's this battle between us and them. And I don't know if it's newspaper headlines sensationalizing things, but the reality of it is, if you come in and you're not broadcasting it the way that it seems to be broadcasted, they're not necessarily going to have the ammunition to produce some of the narratives that are out there. So I don't know what I don't know. I know that you have to make tough decisions in business and in government and everything else. And I think there's a respectful way to the people who are just working, right, doing what they're doing. And I'm not talking about senior leaders that are doing stupid stuff. I think there's a better way. How's that?
Yeah, probably a better way. And yeah, who knows? That's a good point. Who knows what's going on in the organization? And he's just a guy. He's just doing what he thinks is best. Elon doesn't know everything, obviously.
Mm-mm.
And it's just, case by case basis, like who's really to judge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does seem tough. Like you think, stuff with like Doge and the government and, cutting a lot of jobs but we're bleeding financially, right? All this money going out and not enough is coming in. We're giving a bunch of money for programs and across the world, and there's people, dying on the streets and drugs and, all sorts of kind of poverty and lack of infrastructure and stuff.
There's, and I really try and not judge because I don't know. And it's one of those things it's important for us to realize it too, is you've got the newspaper stuff and you've also got what's really happening. And I mean, I'm not raising my hand to go, hey, pick me for that job. I want to go do it. And he and other people have far more inside information about what's really happening than I do, right? Because the only source I would have is, because I don't watch the news, is some of these headlines that pop up. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And then you look at the source of the story and you go, yeah, I'm not reading that. So it just depends, on stuff. And I remember when I first made the decision to not watch the news, I had people go, how are you going to find anything out? And I'm like, oh my God, if it matters to me and it pertains to my world, I'm going to know. I don't need to be plugged into it.
Agreed, Michelle. On the note of being unplugged, I think this is going to be a good time to end our conversation. I think let's unplug.
Okay. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you. This was fun.
Yeah, this was fun. And thanks for all of your thoughts and energy. And this is a good conversation. I want to do more stuff like this because business is all fun to talk about, but I want to talk about stuff about like the world and economics and people and spirituality and these thoughts. Like that's the
stuff.
Yeah.
All the stuff.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Thanks again, Michelle. We'll see you soon.
Okay. Have fun. Let me know.